Okay, calm down.
Can you share with viewers and listeners your relationship to Palestine and your family's relationship to Palestine?
Well, I mean, I'm Palestinian. We're indigenous to the place. My family goes back hundreds of years in a town called Tur, which is in East Jerusalem. And prior to that, uh, we hailed from a village called Deir el-Hawa, which is my namesake, which is in West Jerusalem. So at some point, I think in the 15th century, one of my ancestors sort of made a long trek, left our ancestral village in Deir el-Hawa, and then went to a new village. And so most of us have been expelled. I still have some cousins who still live in Palestine. There's a big, it's a huge sprawling family on the Mount of Olives. But my immediate family have all been were exiled. My grandmothers died as refugees, and here we are.
And where did your family go?
All over, like most Palestinians. I mean, families were scattered, seeking sustenance in different places. My parents initially went to Jordan, and then they went to Kuwait, which is where I was born eventually. And yeah, but I mean, some of us are in Jordan, some are in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, other parts of the Gulf, Lebanon. I lived in Palestine when I was younger. And when I turned 13, Israel expelled me for, being an infiltrator because I didn't have documentation, ironically. And then I went back as an American citizen many years later. And I was going back every year with an organization that I founded to build playgrounds in Palestine. I went there every year to build playgrounds and visit family, and just be in my homeland. But in 2015, I think it was, I was banned from entering, and I haven't been able to go back since.
Have they told you why?
I've never been told why. The second time I was not allowed in, Gideon Levy, he's an Israeli reporter for Haaretz, wrote an article about it, and I think he called the Interior Ministry to inquire why, and he was told, according to the article that he wrote, that I was rude to my interrogator in 2015. And yeah, that's literally the reason that they told us. After 7 hours of interrogation, I was rude to her, and therefore, that was, and he even says, as far as I know, that's not illegal.
Yeah. I also, okay, I don't want to I'm saying this, not you, but Israelis, and I have cousins there. They're not, being rude in Israel is not very atypical. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sure you weren't rude, or if you were rude, it was justifiable, but it's kind of rich for Israelis to kick people out of anywhere for being rude.
Well, I think it highlights the arbitrariness of their rule over Palestinians, not just, Palestinians who are literally under their thumb, but anybody who, including American citizens of Palestinian ancestry. It is, you are, no matter who you are, you're at the mercy of some young, gun-toting soldier, and that's pervasive.
Right. Yeah, and you're right. So even your American citizenship privilege doesn't protect you from that, which is, of course, a theme that you deal with in Mornings in Janine. The character deals with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so can you tell us about when you were kicked out for not having documentation?
So I lived in a place called Dar al-Tifl. It's actually a pretty, it's an orphanage, but it's a well-known institution in Jerusalem. And I had gone in when I was 10 years old with my grandmother. And Israel this was back when, before they closed off Jerusalem to the West Bank. And so one could travel easily between different parts of the West Bank and Jerusalem in the 80s. And I was stopped at one point, and if you're younger than 13, they never, they wouldn't ask you for documentation. But at 13 and above, if you didn't have papers, you had to I don't know, face the consequences. And I mean, I was quite young at the time, so I don't remember a whole lot, except that I was told that I had to, my family uh, told me I had to leave. So, and that was when I came to the U.S.